What's up, YouTube? Today I wanted to talk a little bit about a conference that I recently went to that talked about crowdfunding. And crowdfunding carries over a bunch of different verticals, but mainly what we mainly know it for is Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and now being applied to cryptocurrencies and also real estate investing. There are different regulations that they were talking about at the conference, and in particular how they affect crowdfunding and what to do with the crowdfunding sources and how to prepare your business for it. Because one of the biggest issues right now in the US is getting the right type of lawyers to run the crowdfunding campaign. And the biggest issue right now in crypto is whether or not the ICO, the token sale, is going to be considered a security or an actual utility. So there's a lot of ambiguity in the space right now, and no one really knows what the SEC is going to do. We've seen right now from what China is doing that they just decided to flat out ban it or pause it for the interim. And it's mainly because it's to stop illegal fundraising and pyramid schemes, which in any new market, the crooks and the criminals are going to come out and try to get as much as they can as fast as they can from people who are trying to spend their money and make it as fast as possible. The thing here, I actually think China is doing the right thing, mainly to stop people from hurting themselves, right? I know a lot of people who are into stacking and into crypto in general usually have a distrust of the government. So it's not too surprising that you might feel that this isn't, it's disingenuous. But in reality, it really is a step to prevent people from losing money, because there is a lot of money being spent right now on crypto. When you compare it to venture capital money, ICOs have outperformed venture capital by like almost 2 to 1. Maybe not that much, but venture capital I think is under $1 billion, and ICO money is at roughly 1.5 billion. So these actions taken by countries is actually a good step to kind of slow down the big rush before it gets too far. Because what we've seen is in the last 4 to 5 months, an industry go from 25 billion market cap all the way up to a 170 billion and back down to 140 billion. So it's currently right now at 147. So taking a little break to kind of get your bearings and making sure that people don't lose money is, I think, a good thing. In my last video, I talked about some different scams. And also, I do think there's a little bit of a pause right now just because of the fact that now that Hurricane Harvey is out of the way, Hurricane Irma isn't as bad as it could have been, and the whole North Korea situation has kind of de-escalated a little bit, that things are kind of settling down into a little bit of a lull. What we're seeing now in the news, though, is that it's being reported by U.S. mainstream media that China is actually banning Bitcoin exchanges altogether, but that is actually from a lag from what we've seen from guys like Box Mining, who were able to translate the articles the day they came out. So what we're basically seeing is the US catching up to news that's being released near real time on YouTube now. So this is kind of interesting because the day the news comes out and someone's able to translate it right away, we've seen that this news is just coming out 10 hours ago, but on different forums and on YouTube, it's been out for nearly a week now. So I think you can see that the way information is being transferred and spread is going through different mediums, and mainstream media is actually is part of the last group to kind of learn about this. So just to give you my perspective on what I think is going on is that now mainstream media is the last to learn about it, and so are people who watch mainstream media. Because you can see that China bans ICOs 1 week ago. He's been talking about it. Box Mining, he's one of the more popular YouTubers that discusses crypto. And he's been talking about it for quite some time, and it's been also reported on Reddit, on different forums where these coins are at. And I think the main thing here is that what we're finding is that the US is really is a laggard in the entire industry. Even if you look at where the SEC is, they made a commentary on July 25th, and since then they've said nothing about ICOs and cryptocurrency and regulation. What we are seeing between the two countries, between the US and the Chinese government, is that the Chinese government is making more announcements more frequently than the US is in this particular topic. And I do think it might be because the US might have their hands full with other subjects, or maybe understaffed or something like that. Who knows? Anyways, what we're seeing is that the US is definitely taking their sweet little time with cryptocurrency, and as a result, the market is kind of in a bit of a pause because a lot of the precious metal stackers have said if the government wants to kill cryptocurrency, all they have to do is make it illegal. And that's essentially what China has done in this case for the time being. But what we're going to see in the future is whether or not this entire movement is going to stop or not. And in my opinion, I only think it's temporary. So I am taking a little bit of a gamble in trying to time the market, because with all the uncertainty, it makes for opportunity. And if you're scared to take the plunge, then the rewards won't follow. But at the same time, it's always good to be safe too. So balancing where you're at in life and whether or not you can take these types of risks is definitely a very personal decision that you have to make for yourself. Otherwise, it can make for a good opportunity, which, by the way, I'm not a financial advisor, so please take this as my own personal opinion and do not use this information as personal financial advice. That being said, so I do think that this will all blow over, and eventually, once the regulations come out and people follow and go through either a licensing model, or some sort of standard guidelines where you have to prove that the project that you're working on is legitimate, you have a working concept, you have a legitimate team, you are a real team, and that you have an office space, just basic things to say that you're real and you're serious about doing a business. So taking a step back to the actual Crowd Investment Summit, a lot of it was discussing different Reg A and Reg CF regulations, and I wouldn't be surprised if China starts to do their own thing with when it comes to regulations. So I do think that in the future we're going to see quite a bit of more legal involvement by all parties in the crowdfunding space. And it's a renaissance period for lawyers, because half the event was lawyers and CPAs and trying to stay within the guidelines. Who knows how long this all will take for both the US and China to resolve, but it will be resolved. And the longer it stretches out, the more uncertainty there is. But hopefully you're only investing what you're willing to lose in this space. It is super high risk. Remember to always keep your guard up. I've made some mistakes. I've lost some money. I don't want any of you guys who are watching this video to lose any money. So please proceed with caution. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a comment section down below, or hit that thumbs up button, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.